Right.
We don't start school early. We start school at the age of 7.
Right.
And so less is more.
But you have elementary. You have the elementary before that.
No.
It's 6, right? Isn't it's not elementary?
Yeah, there's a year. Yeah.
1 year before.
Pre-primary education, but it's mostly sort of learning basic skills like interaction skills, how to be in a group, how to be a friend, how to hold a pencil and stuff like that. But it's not sort of academic learning in the sense that they don't have to learn to read, they don't have to learn to write. If they want to, they can, but it's not a requirement. So it's more of the social skills that you need in order to be in school.
Right. Does it normally, the administrators have you worked with, is there a pretty good relationship normally between administration and teachers? Or can it?
Yes.
Or have you ever seen in times where it's a somewhat adversarial relationship?
I haven't really experienced such relationships myself, but of course the chemistry between different people may be problematic at times, but Finland is a country of very low power distance. For instance, I call the administrative director that you saw this morning, Dr. Ruuskanen. Well, normally I call him Pekka, and that is his first name. So if I have something that I want to know, I will go there. Pekka, do you have a minute?
Yeah.
My students call me by my first name. If they called me Dr. Ballard, I would faint. I wouldn't like it at all.
Well, in the last school I was in, some of the students were calling the principal by his first name.
Yeah.
Right.
Students call they don't necessarily have that much to do with the administrative director, but with the junior high and the senior high school teacher or principals, they are called by their first names. So it's Aapo and Kirsti.
Okay, but let's go to the American school system. So, a couple things. They routinely cut art and math, art and music for kids that are underperforming and things like, or come in behind in things like English and mathematics, literacy, numeracy. And so the kids they're not able to take those classes, and then home economic classes have been routinely dumped because they're not considered important.
Yeah.
So how does that differ here in Finland?
Well, first of all, at the junior high school or middle school level, subjects like arts and music and home economics are compulsory. Everybody studies them.
Correct.
And it is seen as their sort of, it's part of their sort of citizenship skills. And also, I think that the Finnish ethos is that by pushing more and making them work harder on their weaknesses is not really going to help them much, but in order to keep them motivated, they have to have something that is different, something that is more hands-on. If they are good at doing hands-on things, if they enjoy music, if they enjoy arts, if they enjoy cooking, then giving them that chance might also increase their motivation in other school subjects. But if we cut them all and we just make them do the maths and English, it would be just sort of tears and toil.
Right. Home economics in the U.S. has been just dumped. It's just considered an archaic class. It's not needed. How is home economics treated here in Finland?
It's one of the favorite subjects of students, and they really like it, and we consider it very important, and it is sort of a cultural subject as well, because learning about different cuisines around the world, you can learn about different cultures as well. So it's sort of basic skills. It's basic skills for your adulthood, but it is also sort of, it widens your horizons as well. The big acronym in the U.S. is STEM and STEAM. Every school's a STEM and every school's a STEAM. And everybody's going to be an engineer, a mathematician, or a IT person. So here it just seems more like it's a basic school and they're teaching basic things.
grade 1 through 9.
Yeah, in basic education we teach basic things.
Education.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the talk now is just, kids have to be scientists and mathematicians and engineers, and that's really the focus, and that's the focus at my school. What do you think?
Not everybody can be a scientist.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be a mathematician. What would happen with food production if everybody was a mathematician? Who would grow grain, for instance, or who would fix our cars? Who would take care of cooking? And
Right.
sort of, we need also people who have practical skills and sort of. I don't think, even though manual work in terms of factories and such may be automatized, so I don't think that everything can.
No.
So we need people, we need plumbers, we need builders, and if you have a degree in mathematics, I don't think that it would qualify you as a good builder. Mm-hmm. And would it be really the right qualification? Would it be just a sort of a degree wasted if you then turned into plumbing, for instance?
Right. So here you need it's not a negative stigma if they're going to teach you to be a plumber, the baker, or the candlestick maker, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. And at age 15 is where depends on their exam, is that correct, coming out of?
We haven't got any external exams in basic education, so
Okay.
we don't have any sort of a school leaving exam at that age.
Right.
Only after the general upper secondary school, which is more academic, then we have the English have their A levels and we have the matriculation exam.
Okay. But before they go to a secondary school,
Yeah.
which this is, or a vocational school, where do they actually sit down with the parents or the kids and get them thinking about in what direction? Because what I find routinely in the U.S. system is we don't ask the kids what they want to do. Kids have very little input at all in any decisions. We simply direct them that that's what they're going to do.
The school is not directing anybody.
Right.
It is the kids and their parents' decision. So how much the parents influence, I don't know. In some families, I think that it might be the parents' decision. In some families, it might be the kids' decision. I hope that it's sort of negotiated.
Right.
But the school does not tell you
Right.
where to go.
Does the school staff here turn over much?
In our school,
Right.
not really.
Right. What percent you think would be a year?
We do have new teachers, but we have new teachers to replace teachers who are on study leave, for instance,
Or retired.
or maternity leave, or retired. Yes, but
For example,
I've been here for more than 20 years,
Right.
and during my time here, I think that I know one or two teachers who left out of their own free will.
Wow.
Nobody was fired,
Right.
but in some cases, because we have had sort of young teachers who have been sort of substitute teachers during a maternity leave, for instance,
Right.
which in Finland is about a year.
Right.
So, and then if there weren't any lessons for them to teach,
Right.
then they had to leave. But I think that I know only two who
Right.
left.
For
because they wanted
example,
to leave.
the year before last at my own school, we had about 1/3 of our teachers left the school. So would you think that there would probably be a problem there if a third of the teachers were leaving?
Yeah, sure, because it really sort of it disrupts the continuity and it disrupts the flow of things in a way. Oh, by the way, talking about continuity, I know that at least in some states in America, teachers teach just 1 year, right? For instance, if you teach English, you teach it year 8 English every year.
That's true.
Yeah, well, it's not here.
It's quite common in the U.S. They
Well-
can change, but it's very common.
It's very different here. Here, for instance, I teach from year 7 to year 12. So I have all different sort of levels. And a colleague of mine over there teaches also at the primary level. And I used to teach at the primary level as well. So at some point I was teaching through years 3 to 12.
You mentioned this leave year or break year. How long can you take a break for as a teacher, and when can you do that?
If it depends on the reason of your leave. If it is just sort of for personal reasons, then it is for the administrative director to decide. But if you want to further your studies, I think that you are entitled for at least 2 years, but in our school you can get more as well, because we are encouraged to do further studies. So in that sense, I think that it would be
to break and go do something else.
Well, as I said, everybody has a master's degree, but we are also encouraged to do further degrees. We have a sort of a licentiate degree, and quite a few of us have doctoral degrees. So
Really?
Yeah.
At this school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me, instance. So.
Okay, so let's go back to the trust issue. About 50% of the teachers come from the bottom 25% of the cohort in the U.S. system. Do you think there would be less trust if you were an administrator, if that were the case, knowing that you weren't getting the cream of the crop, so to speak, as you are here, but you're getting more of, it's not that difficult and the standards are quite low to be a teacher, respectively, in the U.S. as compared, to be an engineer or a doctor or medicine, IT.
I will have to go and see a student teacher of mine in two minutes, because I'm already 1 minute late. But I'm going to ask you in a very stupid way and say that how about if it was vice versa? What if you got better candidates for teaching if they had more freedom, more trust, more sort of professional autonomy? Because I think that why I didn't want to go into research or to the real academia on the other side of the street, why I wanted to stay as a teacher even though I had my doctoral degree, is that I really like this. I like the fact that I can decide how I teach which group. I can't necessarily completely decide what I'm teaching. Of course we have the national framework curriculum, but it doesn't really dictate that closely, and we most certainly do not have any ready-made lesson plans that today I will have to do this and that. But the freedom in teaching is one of the biggest rewards. It's not the salary, but it's the academic freedom in a way.